My girlfriend spent months telling me her roommate was making noise and going camping with her, but then confessed the roommate never existed and it was actually her boss, and now after our breakup she's showing up uninvited because she needs to feel close to me for therapy. Posted by you/dominant, lawyer 23. I, 22M, have been in a long-distance relationship with my girlfriend, 29F, who lives 1,500 kilometers away, for about a year. Our first meeting is scheduled for a week. She wants me to come over for 2 weeks, but I'm feeling increasingly uncomfortable and emotionally overwhelmed. We met online by chance and then slowly started texting and calling each other on Discord. Unfortunately, there were repeated times when she kept things from me or deliberately misrepresented them. For example, she lied about her job and only revealed right before the meeting that her supposed roommate, whom she had been telling me about regularly for 1.5 years, didn't exist at all. Instead, she lives with her landlord and employer, who are also her roommate. These confessions almost always came immediately after she had pressured me to make some kind of promise or agree to something. What I found particularly distressing was that when we first met, she told me she was a lesbian and felt uncomfortable around men. Then, after 6 months, she confessed her feelings to me and, without any time to think, asked me to be with her during the call. This was a complete surprise and made me think that otherwise, I probably would never have let her get so close to me to prevent exactly this kind of situation. I feel like I never really had a fair chance to get to know her. She kept confessions afterward, but I was never given time to think about it. I'm afraid that something unexpected might happen again at the planned meeting, and I'll end up in a situation I can't get out of. This has severely shattered my trust, and I often wonder what will come to light next. Basically, our relationship is already characterized by a lot of negativity. I'm constantly accused of not doing enough for her, of my messages not being emotional and loving enough, and I'm constantly confronted with accusations from her or her roommate/landlord, and then I have to prove myself and explain myself for hours. With all the negativity and insecurities on her part, there's hardly any room left for anything else, anything positive. Nevertheless, she gets angry when I don't tell her enough about myself, when I spend all my time justifying myself or supporting her with her problems. She has high hopes for me. She desperately wants to move to Germany and start a family with me. But I'm still a student, and I have neither financial security nor the mental capacity for such big life steps, which I've also told her. She often says how lonely she is, how much she hates her surroundings, that she has mental health issues, and I realize how much this weighs on me. I feel responsible, even though I barely know who she really is anymore. I don't want to hurt anyone, but I feel like I'm not up to this relationship and that I'm losing myself in it. She also hinted at something specific she would think about if we broke up, and it's completely destroying me inside. How can I end this relationship as respectfully as possible, especially considering that she's projecting so much onto me and relying so heavily on me? I want to be fair, but I just can't go on like this. Any tips or even a conversation would really help me enormously. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, that's not a relationship at all. You seem very naive and inexperienced to me. The woman must have taken advantage of that. You don't know her at all. You haven't even seen or met her yet, and you're making accusations. Just write a quick note saying you're no longer interested, then block her everywhere. Ops response, I definitely approached the whole thing very naively and inexperienced, there's no other way to put it. My main problem isn't so much the decision itself, but rather the how. Sure, I could block her everywhere and send her a quick message, and it would certainly be the easiest thing for me. But in the end, I was still an idiot and went along with it, which is why I feel it's my responsibility to at least tell her by phone before I end it and block her everywhere. At least I had read that it would only be fair to end the relationship the way you mainly communicate, for example not by message if you mainly talk on the phone or meet in real life. Commenter 2, if you're in a relationship, that's fair. But you don't have one. She's just making you feel this strange responsibility. She's manipulating you. You don't owe her anything. Especially since all this talk about her counting on you, etc., is definitely a lie. It's only meant to make you feel guilty. Ops response, you're absolutely right, thank you for your opinion. It definitely gives me hope that I can free myself from this. And yes, some of it is definitely manipulation. So much manipulative behavior eventually ceases to be accidental or thoughtless, but is simply planned to get their way, and I can't let it pressure me into doing things I don't want to do. Thank you, really. Commenter 3, you have no responsibility towards her. You should do what's best for you. And if I understand correctly, she's someone who's putting you under massive pressure and even threatening you with certain things. There's no reason why you should subject yourself to that. None at all. This is about self-protection, and you don't need to feel guilty about it. You can simply text her that it's over and block her everywhere. You don't owe her anything. Ops response, thank you for your kind advice, you're definitely right. The threats and knowing about her mental state are what make it so hard for me. But honestly, there's no point in forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do out of consideration, and potentially developing mental health problems yourself. This definitely gives me the strength and courage to go through with it without feeling guilty. That would definitely feel very liberating. Commenter 4, exactly. You're not stupid for getting caught up in this. Take care of yourself. You don't have to explain anything to her, nothing. A one-liner is enough, I want to end things between us, please don't contact me again, and block her. You can do it. Ops response, thank you. And thank you, I still can't believe that everything escalated so much. But all I can do is draw on experience and learn from my mistakes. Even though it will feel terrible at the moment, I can at least mentally come to terms with it afterwards and hopefully look positively and motivated into the future. You're absolutely right. I actually wanted to get some advice anyway, as I also have huge problems with the pressure to perform at university. Fortunately, they take it pretty seriously, and the university offers a low threshold way to get advice quickly, which I will definitely do. Thanks for the tip. You're definitely right, that would admittedly be the easiest and most effective way to get out of this and finally be able to close things before any doubts arise. And yes, I already posted about this about half a year ago. But I think it was about how I should react when she gave me an ultimatum, asking me whether I could imagine having children with her. But hey, that says it all. Update, I've prepared myself and will go through with it today, but she hasn't had time yet and wasn't home, and I wanted to do it via call. And the waiting feels so horrible, my heart is racing the whole time, and I feel so miserable. Commenter 5, just write to her, a relationship wouldn't stand a chance on lies like that anyway, and say goodbye politely. Alternatively, you can tell her in person, but you don't owe her the way she treated you. She'll only continue to exploit and manipulate you. Why do you think the landlord was a roommate? Get it over with quickly, then you won't have to struggle with yourself for days. She won't break up with you anyway, she'll just move on to the next victim. Op's response, yes, a message would probably be the best way to simply end it and put it behind us. It would certainly be nice in the end, but there would be zero added value to doing it over the phone, if I'm honest. She always talked about her roommate, use of she, that she hurt her, that she was making noise, that they were going camping together, etc. Then she admitted that her landlord wasn't just anyone, but her employer, with whom she's also friends. And then 2 days later, she admitted that there was never a roommate, but that her landlord and employer were also her roommate, and that was always what she meant. Before that, she always referred to her roommate and employer as two separate people and never said anything about her roommate, even when asked. Commenter 6, did Op end the relationship? Op's response, I just tried to end it via message, but she just came online, and honestly, I'm shocked. Without going into too much detail about my health, I currently have very poor blood values due to excessive stress, which could potentially lead to heart damage, several times the limit. Referring to this, I explained to her via message that this is all too much for me emotionally and physically, and that I'm very worried about my heart. Her response was that I was taking it way too seriously and should just take some supplements and then everything would be fine. I should just take it easy now, there's no way we could cancel the trip now, and breaking up via text would be totally awful. I don't know, it just shocked me because it's so incredibly bold. Update 1, 4 days later. Hi everyone. I want to thank everyone who responded to my first post with compassion and genuine concern. Your advice helped me dig deep and end the relationship. I thought that would bring me peace. But since then, things have become much more emotionally overwhelming, and I'm struggling to navigate a situation that feels completely impossible. What's happened since then? I actually wanted to tell her my decision in a phone call on Monday evening and give her space to respond. However, she immediately wanted to know what was going on via message, and I explained it to her, which must have been a real blow to both of us. She still wanted to talk about it in a call. However, after I got the feeling that she didn't really want to value my emotions and my health and responded by downplaying and denying them, I wrote her a final, detailed, and emotional farewell message and then blocked her on all platforms, not out of anger, but because I felt it was the only way to protect us both from a spiral of pain, and because I was completely overwhelmed emotionally. However, she gave my phone number to a friend and asked for a final conversation yesterday afternoon to process what had happened. I felt guilty for ending everything so abruptly without giving her a chance to respond, so I agreed to a conversation this evening. Nevertheless, she wanted to wish me good night over the phone last night and started crying violently, saying she couldn't live without me, that the mere thought of me being with someone else one day was unbearable, and that she was having thoughts about ending her life. This unsettled me greatly, but I tried to stay calm and support her emotionally, while also making it clear to her that my decision was final, while also telling her that she was a strong person who could handle anything. This morning, she asked for another call with an important message and told me she was currently on a ship visiting relatives, so she could have support around her during this upsetting situation. But then, unexpectedly, she shared with me a list of Airbnbs in my area and said she wanted to fly out to me next Monday to care for me, support me during my health challenges, and simply be there for me. She even said she'd wait for me at the hospital if necessary. I panicked. I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. I just told her I needed time to think. I felt completely trapped. Every clear boundary I try to establish is met with desperate feelings, and I don't know how to stand my ground without feeling like I'm letting someone down in real pain, because I'm sure they feel truly terrible and are clinging on. Not to hurt me, but still in a way that's emotionally captivating me. Honestly, I feel like I'm falling apart. I don't want to give her false hope, but her emotional intensity, her deep need for love and safety, and her talk of ending her life make it almost impossible to truly let go. I'm starting to doubt myself. She is truly loving, caring, gentle, and emotional. Yes, she has lied to me about serious things in the past. Yes, I've been completely drained from being her emotional anchor. But when she says things like, "You're the only one I've ever felt safe with," I start to think I'm the bad guy for walking away. She's also told me how afraid she is of therapy, because of a traumatic experience she once had when she was medicated and committed to a psychiatric facility against her will, and that she'd rather suffer alone than go through that again. So I'm terrified of doing anything that might finally push her over the edge, while simultaneously knowing that every further contact gives her more reason to hope I might change my mind. At the same time, without a proper degree, which I thought I had for at least half of Tuesday, I can't really move on. I can't find the peace and quiet to recover, nor can I even remotely concentrate on my studies and study. I'm completely at my wit's end. We're supposed to talk on the phone tonight to discuss everything in detail. I promised her I wouldn't just disappear or block her again without warning her, and I intend to keep that promise. But I also know I can't continue to be emotionally available to her. I can't be the one to carry her through this grief. I don't know how to have the conversation without giving her false hope, gently reject her idea of visiting me without destroying her, provide emotional closure without slipping back into emotional dependency, end the conversation gently, nor definitively decide whether I should block her again afterward, and if so, how to prepare her for it without re-traumatizing her. I never wanted to hurt her. But I'm not strong enough to go through this anymore, and it's destroying me emotionally. I just want her to be okay. And I need a way out that doesn't make me feel like someone who's letting someone down at their lowest moment. How can I respect their pain without becoming responsible for it? Any advice, any experience, or even just a few compassionate words would mean so much to me right now. I feel responsible for their overall well-being, even though no other person could ever bear such a responsibility, and I just want to do the right thing. For both of us. Thank you. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, you seem like a good guy, but you have to choose one way or another. Either you're still in a relationship you don't want, or you're single and living with the fact that she's miserable about it. You simply have to be tough here. Your whole gentle approach and allowing us to continue talking won't ultimately make it easier for her to live without the relationship. It will probably have the opposite effect. With every step you agree to, she'll probably imagine that she's moving toward a relationship with you again. You already recognize that aptly in your post. Ultimately, people are responsible for their own emotions. If you can't live with breakups, you shouldn't enter into relationships. Your ex has realized that you're vulnerable when she shows emotions or brings her health into play, and she's exploiting that, consciously or unconsciously. You're being manipulated. Your doubts are arising because she's deliberately stoking them in you. If you want out of this, you simply have to rise above it. If I were you, I wouldn't even have the planned conversation and instead tell her briefly and succinctly that it's over, that she should please respect that, and please not contact you again in the future, not even through third parties. Your goal of just wanting her to be okay is simply unattainable in this situation. People don't feel okay when they lose a relationship they don't want to lose. Ops response, thank you for your answer. Unfortunately, you're right, there's no way to ensure her well-being while also protecting myself and my health. I guess I'll just have to go through with it, since there's no other option. It will be incredibly difficult, but as you've already described, there's simply no alternative. Thank you for your opinion and your time. Commenter 2, your great empathy is a credit to you. But this woman doesn't deserve it. I read your first post and I'm shocked. She's not the person you think she is. She quickly recognized your empathetic, gentle personality and has been using and manipulating you ever since. Your age difference also plays a role here. You have to recognize this and make a clean break. She won't hurt herself and will sooner or later look for her next victim. I'm sorry she put you in such a stressful situation. I send you a big hug, everything will be okay. Ops response, thank you for your assessment. Yes, I think if you look at it from the outside, you can hopefully judge it better, and I'll approach it that way and make the hard cut. It's a bit hard to be caught in the crossfire, for example, when you hear from the other side that their friends are saying I'm mean because I didn't talk to them before making the decision. But well, there's no way I can get out of this other than by making a hard and, unfortunately, painful cut. The thing about one-sided or toxic relationships, which makes them so tricky, is that everything is never black and white, no one is ultimately evil or perfect. If you spend 2/3 of your time caring for each other, it's easy to forget about the other third and block it out, deluding yourself into believing that it's your own fault and that everything's actually fine, and that you're the problem, not the other side, who acts destructively 1/3 of the time. Update 2, 3 days later. Hey everyone. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who responded so compassionately and honestly to my recent posts. Your messages have helped me a lot, especially in realizing how deep I'm already in this and how emotionally overwhelmed I am. Unfortunately, I feel like it's just not getting better. No matter what I do, it's only getting worse, and I don't know how to get out of this without completely breaking down. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend a few days ago after about a year of a long-distance relationship because her repeated lies and the emotional pressure from my life in general, but especially from the relationship, were completely draining me, both mentally and physically. Even though I explained to her in a detailed message that the separation is final, she continues to seek contact through various channels, including her friend and mother, and asked for a final conversation, which made things even worse. She has now announced that she is traveling to my region, which is causing me a lot of anxiety. What has happened since then? We actually had the conversation she wanted. I tried to calmly and honestly explain again why I couldn't continue. I was very open and also explained how poor my health is at the moment, which I haven't mentioned much here so far. But what completely threw me, She simply ignored or reinterpreted many of the things I said. She clung to the parts where I told her that she was strong and that she meant a lot to me, but completely ignored the very clear statements about my decision and my boundaries. Nevertheless, I couldn't bring myself to tell her clearly during the call that I didn't want any more contact because I was afraid of an emotional outburst and didn't feel emotionally ready for it. The next day, I messaged her again to make it clear that my decision hadn't changed. I wanted to be fair and offered to write me her thoughts again, which she did, and I answered all her questions and impressions. But afterward, she asked me again for a call, saying that she couldn't and didn't want to live without me. I declined, wished her all the best again, advised her to contact relatives, and then, together with her friend, blocked her everywhere. I thought that was it. I was emotionally empty, but also relieved to have at least set a boundary. Panic, emptiness, and relief alternated. But it continued. That same Thursday evening, I went to the movies with my best friend because it was his birthday that week and he'd suggested it, and I wanted to give him his present. Shortly before the movie started, I was about to turn off my phone and just then saw that a new message had come in a few minutes earlier from an unknown number, this time apparently from her mother, which completely threw me because I just wanted at least a day of peace to slowly process it. The message was, on the one hand understanding, but on the other hand very stressful. She wrote that she understood my decision and didn't mean me any harm, but then she mentioned that she now has heart problems herself and that she wouldn't actively harm herself, but wouldn't do anything about her condition if something happened. She also asked me to keep the lines of communication open for her in case we needed to check in on each other about our health. And all of this while I'm feeling worse than I could even begin to describe. I have serious heart problems, my fatigue levels are way above the threshold, and the doctors told me that this could have long-term consequences at this level. On top of that, I'm currently under a lot of family pressure. My sister has been in need of care for almost 6 months following brain tumor surgery, my father is unemployed again, and I'm taking care of the paperwork for both of them. I don't mean to complain, but I just can't take it anymore. That's why I've decided to do nothing for now and use Friday to collect myself and process things, and then decide what to do on Saturday. This morning, Saturday, the next message from her arrived. She booked an Airbnb near me. She wrote that she would be arriving on Monday, to the nearest big city, about 35 kilometers away, and wanted to explore the region. Luckily, she doesn't know where I live, but that doesn't make it much better. She said it wasn't crossing boundaries, not an attempt to force me to meet up, but that she had to do it for her self-therapy, as she wanted to explore the region and, in order to let go, needed to at least feel like she'd been near me. Then came the request, could we meet at least for a hug? Shortly afterward, she sent me old screenshots of chat histories without comment, in which we had wished each other all the best and strength for our challenges. I was simply speechless. What really shocks me is that she's actually leaving without a return date, has almost no money, is traveling alone, and no one around her is stopping her. Not even her mother. And me? I don't just feel uncomfortable, I'm scared now. Scared that she'll actually show up. Scared that I'll become soft again. Scared that my home won't feel like a safe place anymore. I don't want to hurt anyone. I sincerely hope she gets better soon. But this isn't normal anymore. I'm really at my limit. I can barely eat, barely sleep, my heart is constantly racing, my mind can't stop. And I just don't know what to do. I'm really asking you for any advice, tips, or just some reassurance. Right now, I just can't take it anymore and I'm close to crying because I just can't bear it all anymore. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, my opinion is, respect your boundaries and stay strong. You aren't responsible for her and you have your own, self-determined life. She won't stop if you move toward her. Better a terrible end than a terrible end without end. Very appropriate here, unfortunately. Ops response, you're right. There will be no other way than a clear cut. It's just hard that she's ignored the hard cut twice now. I'm just afraid that the next friend or family member will write to me. Unfortunately, on WhatsApp, you can't block unknown numbers from contacting someone for the first time. I had already activated this before her mother wrote to me, but unfortunately, it only blocks unknown numbers when a high volume of messages comes from unknown numbers, or at least from this one number. In any case, it doesn't prevent you from being contacted by an unknown number under normal circumstances. Commenter 2, make it clear to her once that you no longer wish to have contact with her. I don't want to be contacted by you anymore. Block her mother's number. If she continues to contact you, back up everything. Take screenshots of everything in case it starts to feel like stalking. You have the right to focus on yourself now. Ignore them, block out everything that's still to come. Ops response, you're right, thank you for all your advice. I think I'll tell her again clearly that I'd prefer not to have any more contact and that I won't meet up with her, and I hope she accepts that. But yes, it has now reached the point where one must be careful that it does not become a criminal offense. Commenter 3, phew. That's a really difficult situation. I think you've done everything you can to end the relationship in a grown-up way. Now things are getting a little wild with her booking an Airbnb near you. I wouldn't agree to any more meetings and would make a clean break. In that case, just think about yourself and your health, both mentally and physically. All the best. Ops response, thank you for the message. I'll try to contact some kind of support service for this situation on Monday, because it's really scaring me and it's just gone way too far. Commenter 4, I think you've already done way too much. Offering to explain things to her countless times, why? You want to break up. It's your life, your decision. For now, no more conversations alone. If she starts stalking you, call the police, and if necessary, report her. Of course, she has to deal with the end of the relationship without you. Op's response: you're right, I'll definitely not respond to any further attempts to contact her. Unfortunately, that hasn't worked so far, because she always finds someone else to contact me instead. I'll have to see what I can do to prevent that. Commenter 5, no is a complete sentence. How she deals with her health is entirely her decision. But the fact that she now has a diagnosis that mirrors yours makes me skeptical, to say the least. But, she doesn't need to inform you about her health, and you don't need to inform her about yours. My advice would be, get a new number. Only give it to people you truly trust. Op's response: I will definitely try it, so I can escape the situation, which would be really super important at the moment. Commenter 6, does the ex know where Op lives? Op's response: no, she doesn't know the location, and she doesn't know my last name either. Finding that out will hopefully be virtually impossible. I followed your advice and wrote the exact same thing to the mother, then blocked the number on WhatsApp and for text messages and calls. While I was at dinner, however, she apparently called from yet another number, which is the 4th number in total. Since I don't have to leave this weekend anyway, I've removed my SIM card for now, so at least text messages and calls are no longer possible.